What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Those are three we're going to go over, and what we're going to be doing here is looking on the 1 hour time frame, getting a nice move out of this symmetrical triangle. We're breaking to the upside, and it's coming on a little bit more volume here. So that's exactly what we want to see in terms of the volume breaking either to the upside, guys, or the downside, because you have to remember in symmetrical triangles, they're more of a neutral pattern, and they can break either way. So the fact that we are breaking up right now, that's a good thing. And what you can also see here on the 1 hour time frame is that we potentially could get that golden cross of that 50 moving average crossing over that 200 there, and that could be enough to even push us up a little bit higher. So right now we're up about 15%. So what we have to realize, guys, whenever anything moves around 15%, 20% or whatever, you may have a little bit of a retracement, or you may have some type of cool down. And what I want to point out here on the 1 hour time frame, if we look at our indicators, we're up around 83. So what I would expect is some type of cooling off, and I'd want to see us try to hold support roughly around that $6,100 range. If we can hold 6,100, that's what we just previously broke up through, then we really could have a shot at running up hard to over $7,000 in my opinion. But what's going to need to happen, guys, is that continued volume. We don't want to just see that spike and then by the end of the day, all of a sudden we're getting that massive sell-off again. So I still think this is a time to be protective. Earlier, I jumped in a very quick position, guys, rode it up fast and got back out. It was just a quick little profit, but for me, I was sitting in cash. Like I've told you, I've been very protective in this space. I think being protective in this space is the way to go right now with all the uncertainty that we have around the world. Now, if we take a look at this here, and we really zoom in, what I would look at next if we do have some type of retracement or a pullback, okay, we just made that really strong move. Sometimes once you break out, you can actually come back test what you broke out of, and then continue moving again to the upside. So that's one option. Another option is that we just move sideways a little bit here, and then we make our next move up. Or we could just have a slight retracement. But what I'm paying attention to is the volume. So typically, guys, when you have a big burst to the upside like that on big volume, if you're going to make the next move to the upside, you'll see the volume dying off as you slowly go down, and then you will get that next leg up. And that's what I'm looking for next. But like I said, I'm back in cash. I'm waiting. I'm being patient for the next opportunity. I've been playing Bitcoin and Litecoin on the 15-minute time frame. So that's what I've been looking at. Now, guys, what I wanted to point out as well, I wanted to go to the 4 hour time frame with you, but typically remember with symmetrical triangles, they can break either way. This was basically like a symmetrical triangle, or almost one of those bearish pennants as well, because we had that straight vertical drop and then we chopped back and forth. And remember, with bearish pennants, they typically break to the downside more often, but they still can break to the upside, and that's what we're seeing right now in this bearish pennant or this symmetrical triangle. And we're also having bailouts around the world as well right now, and money being injected back, and it seems like a lot of the times now Bitcoin has been correlating with the stock market. So that's something that you do want to pay attention to as well. But still, even in the stock market, we're not getting as big a bounce as I would have expected for the money that potentially could be coming back into the market. So always pay attention to that type of stuff as well, guys. And if we bounce out to the 4 hour time frame now for Bitcoin, I want to point something else out to you. So we are now trading up above this 50 moving average on the 4 hour time frame, and I do think that's important. The next thing I'm going to look for is to see if we can get this 20 to cross up through this 50 on the 4 hour time frame. Do you see how we had this 20 cross down through the 50 here, and we really got a big push to the downside? If we can get that cross and we can have continued movement to the upside, then we definitely could have a shot, guys, of coming back here around that $7,500 or so. Because if we look and we start looking at these areas, we look at $6,500 as potential overhead resistance, and we look at around that $6,800, and then it would be up around that $7,500. Now, in my opinion, I wouldn't go FOMOing into a position right now. If we start looking, at the indicators and how overextended we are getting on some of these, we're up at 70 now, getting close, or 67, getting close to that 70 on the 4 hour time frame. So this is kind of one of those areas. If you miss that move in terms of it going up 15%, I would be more cautious and wait for some type of, pullback or retracement, and then potentially look to see how the candlesticks are forming for another leg to the upside. I'm not saying though, guys, this is cryptocurrency. see. On the 4-hour time frame, we've seen the RSI get up into the 90s before, so anything can happen. But I'm paying a lot of attention to that 15-minute chart and that 1-hour time frame. And what I like doing in this market now is getting in and out of this market and protecting my capital, trying to make some capital and then get back out of the market. That's what I'm doing right now. And I know some people think I'm crazy for that. They just say hodl, they say this, but guys, that's not how I do it. Like I've told you before, I have hodling bags and I also have trading, and my trading's done so much better than my hodling. So that's just me. But these are the things that I'm paying attention to. If we could get this cross here, that maybe could be enough to start pushing us up into some of those higher areas. So I want to go back to the 1-hour time frame, and next what I want to do is move into Litecoin here. So we'll take a look at Litecoin, guys. If you like me covering Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today, and I'm going to continue to preach, guys, just being careful, being cautious with that capital right now in this space, because as we've seen, just like moves like this, we can really blast off to the upside hard, and then you can have a massive dump after it. So you have to be protective and you have to be careful in this area. Now, in terms of Litecoin, this is what we were looking at yesterday, and we were talking about a potential bearish pennant or symmetrical triangle that we were looking at, and I was waiting to see which way we would break on heavier volume. And right now we are breaking to that upside, and we are trying to get through and at least close up above that 39.06. That's going to be an area for us to where that's when the Feds were announcing rate cuts, and we bounced up quick and then we dropped it. So that's going to be an area right here that we're going to need to find support off of, and then continuously try to make that next move up into potentially, guys, even up to around that $46, $47 range if we're able to do it. But like I said, it's just still the area to be careful, because we don't know exactly what's going to take place in these markets. There's a lot of fake outs, there's false breakouts, all types of stuff, so you got to be very careful. But I do love that we are breaking out through that symmetrical triangle, and we potentially here have that golden cross of that 50 over top of that 200. Remember, this is all on the 1-hour time frame. We're looking at this on a shorter time frame, so always remember that. But as we look up here at our candles, you can see some profit taking that was happening. The last hour there, we ended up getting all the way up to about $41, and we ended up closing at $39.15. So there is a lot of profit taking in this area, and for this move to continue, we're going to need to see some more volume. That's going to be important for us, guys. But the main thing is to close up above that 30, we'll call it 38.84 today. That's going to be important. If not, I would look back down to see if we do come to these areas and back test this again, these trend lines that we broke out of, and see if we could potentially get a bounce off that. That's what I'm looking for. Now, in terms of the 4-hour time frame, let's take a look here. Same deal with Bitcoin. We're waiting to see if we can get that 20 cross up through that 50. That would be nice, because that would give us some room to run back up here to around that $47 range, guys. That's what we need, and we are getting that increased volume. The RSI is at 65, so we just got to keep an eye on it, but it is still pointing up right now, so that is a good thing. We're going to have to see if we can continue to get that buying pressure to move to the upside. We're at 13.9, 14% now. We're at 39.74, so we are getting a nice little move out of here, but we have to be patient and pay attention to the close today, guys. We still got a lot of time before the close, and we're just going to have to see what happens. Okay, so still be cautious, but this is nice to see that we are getting some upside pressure and it's coming on some volume. So now we're just going to have to see what today and tomorrow brings. If tomorrow is going to be a big nasty sell-off like we get a lot of the times, or if we're going to continue these moves to the upside, and this is something serious for us. So just be very careful. That's the main thing that I'd tell you. And then let's go into Bitcoin Cash here. And with Bitcoin Cash, I do believe it's up the most today. It's really making a nice strong move. You can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we're starting to get that 20 cross up above that 50, so that's good there. We're on heavier volume. Our RSI is at 70 right now, so we potentially could have some more area, to cool down once we do get up into these oversold territories there. So we might calm down a little bit, guys, but the next target I would look at here to the upside is going to be around $258 if we can make that. And then to the downside, I would like to see us hold $199.20. I think that's going to be important, and then we'll dig into the 1-hour time frame here. And on the 1-hour time frame, that is a very large stick of volume here. You can see it there. We've had it back here before, though, guys, and that's what we have to be cautious of, because sometimes you can see that big heavy volume come in, and then you can start moving back to the downside. This was one trend line that I was looking at just recently. You can see we broke down through it, but we more so just moved sideways. But I do love the fact that we're gaining back some moving averages here on the 1 hour time frame. We're up above the 20, we're up above the 50, and we're up above that 200 now. So those are going to act as a little bit more support, and this is what we needed, either a break to the upside or the downside, because we've been consolidating for so long. And whenever you consolidate and you move sideways for that amount of time and the candles start to get extremely tight, then you're going to have that breakout. And you know, guys, you can never be 100% positive if it's going to break to the upside or the downside, but you have to prepare for both. And this is the upside plan. Now, the upside plan was try to get up above, you know, around that $200, and we have definitely done that, and it's come on more volume. So now we're just going to see if this is going to be a low volume sell-off, and then the next pump up, or if they're going to have heavy volume, we're going to start dropping back down. Because remember, when you're in an uptrend, those big impulse waves, you want to have heavy volume, and then you want light volume as it cools down, and then heavier volume again as it steps back up, tries to push you to the upside. If we see extremely heavy volume selling off now at these areas, then that would show you that most likely we're going to continue to move back to the downside, and we'd have to look at some of those areas like that $200 as support. Now, on the 1 hour time frame here, we are looking at 81 on our RSI, so we may have a quick cooling down, and I think that's a good thing. Whenever you see something run almost 20%, guys, you always have to realize that there's going to be a cooling off period that takes place next. So that's something that you definitely want to watch. And then in terms of Bitcoin Cash out on the 1 day time frame, we can take a look at this here. You can see we're coming up trying to get back to that 20-day EMA, which would be important for us to start closing back up again, up above again, and that's going to be around $247, I do believe. It's hard to see. Yep, $247, and then we would have that 200-day moving average that's really flat right now that we need to get back up above, or at least test. And our RSI on the 1 day is at 41.92 right now, so plenty of more room to run. We're just going to have to see if this continues to move to the upside, guys. That's the main thing that I'm looking at now. I just don't want it to be one of those false breaks to where we break out hard and then it's ripped right back out. So just be careful. That's the main thing that I'm telling you. Be careful, protect that capital, get in and out of trades until we break that overall downtrend, because we have not broken out from that overall downtrend yet. Okay? So just be careful, guys. God bless each and every one of you. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you get some from this. I appreciate you all being here with me today. Take care, my friends.